Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Saturday. So, the things that went wrong before tonight's live stream were multiple things. Actually, well, first of all, I couldn't find my phone. So that's a bit of a nightmare. And I do have a fancy watch that can ring my phone, but I couldn't find the setting on my watch to ring my phone to find it. But it turns out it's in my car. Anyway, after getting over that minor panic, then we had the screen captures suddenly all changed literally at 10:59. So a minute before going live, I was trying to get the screen captures. They'd all changed to tiny little boxes instead of actually capturing what they should have done. And then something else happened, which I can't remember what it was. Oh, I had no sound. So that's another thing that happened. But it always happens that it's at about 59 minutes past, everything's fine. As soon as you click the live streaming button and it's, we've got the crawl, I think that's what they call it, like the live stream crawl across the screen saying establishing connection. As soon as that happens, everything just goes out the window. But we are here, we're live, we made it. So anyway, hello all of you in the live chat room, and I'm just going to see in there if you can hear me. If everything's coming across fine, the levels seem to be okay with what I can see on my screen, but because it just suddenly all went at the beginning of the live stream, yeah, I'm not sure whether you can hear me or not. I'm just going to keep on talking. So, hello in that live chat room. We have Jan and Linda, Charlie, Tammy, Bev, Joe, Billy, Janice, Darlene, Ro again, Rocket Girl, Debbie, Lucy, Janet, and then it's gone through too quickly for me to see. So thank you guys for joining me on, well, for tonight's live stream, but on a Saturday night, as it is here in the UK. Let me get the names of my patrons up on screen, because they make this all possible in the first place. That's something that I forgot to do, was to update the patron list. And I don't know whether, because it's not automated, I write in all of these names, so, and that's why sometimes there's spelling mistakes, and people do let me know when I've accidentally typed their name incorrectly, but that's just my typing ability, unfortunately. So it's not a computer program that gets it wrong, it is just me. But I'm going to see if I can actually update this. Maybe this is asking too much to update the patron list live, but I'm going to try it anyway. And right, no, now I have to try and find where the list of patrons is in amongst this. How many do we have? About 100 of these different things. Okay, right, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Actually, I might be able to, but I'm not going to be able to do this in time. Right. Anyway, I will do it after tonight's live stream. But anyway, the names, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the names at the bottom of the screen are my patrons over at patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus. And they make everything possible. And because things have been really busy on the channel, so this is why I'm behind with a few things. And yeah, adding the names, I think there's 4 names maybe that I haven't added yet to the live stream, but that will be done. Don't worry, everybody, all the people that have just become patrons, your names will be added to the list by Tuesday. That'll be the next live stream. But yes, things have been really busy. Hence why I haven't had a chance to do things that I normally do, because we have now reached, and I'm going to have to navigate back to my screen of controls for the live stream, because we have now reached 315,000 subscribers. So a massive thank you to you guys for subscribing, hitting that notification bell as well. That's a huge part of getting notified for the videos. And I know that people are screaming and you probably can't hear me. And yeah, so that is just amazing. Another huge number. I keep on saying, and I'll get rid of this now so that you can hear what I'm saying, but I keep on saying 215 and like 214. So I'm about 100,000 subscribers behind where I think I am. So yeah, it's just a ridiculous number that I can't really take in. So yeah, 315,000 subscribers. And on Tuesday, we had just passed 314,000 subscribers, and then last Saturday we were at 313,000 subscribers. So yeah, in the space of, what, a week, we've had, I can't even figure out what I just said, but I think over the space of a week, it's been like 2,000 subscribers, and hence why there's been a lot more to do, because I don't think that's ever happened. We've had 1,000 between live streams, but then, yeah, to get a couple of thousand over the course of a week, yeah, very busy indeed with messages here on YouTube and Patreon and emails, of course. So yeah, just trying to keep up with everything, and I will keep up with everything doing the analysis videos as well. We are keeping the analysis videos going, so I'm intending to do that tomorrow night as well. By the way, Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays are analysis video days, and just video days in general. Sometimes we have interviews and those kinds of things, but at the moment it's just analysis videos that we're working our way through. But yes, these lovely people at the bottom of the screen make everything possible in the first place, these live streams and every single analysis video that I do on the channel. So thank you guys. You know who you are. If you want to get involved yourselves, you can head over to patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus, because that's where I give all of my updates, and that's where I spend, I'd say, most of my time. I always update everybody as to what's going on and do that nightly. I'm over there every evening, so you can send me a message directly there if you want to. But let's get the lights goal up on screen, because tonight we are aiming for 335 likes. And let's get the likeometer up on screen to see that we have a 221 already. So thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up. If you could hit that thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be much appreciated. If we do have I just noticed on the screen that it says number 35, which I'm sure I haven't updated. I think we're up to Phil Jam number 36. I'm going to change this just in case, but I'm pretty sure that is it. So anyway, yes, if we hit the goal, we do have the Phil Jam at the end of the live stream. So that's what we're aiming for, 335. Then we load up number 36, see whatever it is, and try and play along. So 250 likes so far. Thank you guys for that thumbs up. It really does help this live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole, but it has been growing quite a lot recently. The other things that we have, and Cindy says, yes, it is number 36. So thank you for that clarification. But yeah, the other things that we have during the live streams, we have the vote for tonight's cover video, and that's between Power of Love and In My Dreams by Dokken. So you can vote for whichever one of those you want to hear a little bit later on. Of course, it's going to be my version of either of those songs. The other thing about the live streams is that we just tend to talk about whatever happens, or whatever's mentioned maybe in the live chat room, or somebody will ask a question, and then sometimes we just get sidetracked with many different things. And I know that certainly the topic at the moment is auto-tune and pitch correction, getting lots of messages about that. But I think it's a hot topic just because there are a lot of people that don't realize the extent to which it's being used. And this is another thing that I think I'm going to do a video very soon explaining what it is. A lot of people have messaged me about, different effects and auto-tune and asking me to explain different things about it. So yeah, I'm probably going to do a video on that very soon. But like I said, it is a hot topic that actually quite a lot of people think that if somebody's using auto-tune or pitch correction, i.e. what you're hearing isn't actually their voice, it's gone through a computer processor first, then that should be made visible somewhere, or at least the person who's maybe buying the music should know that what they're listening to is a computer processing sound rather than somebody just singing into a microphone. And this is the thing, that it's not made available anywhere at the moment in the whole industry. And I have said before about, probably in one of my rants, I've said before about, when you're buying something, you're always told what it is, because you have, it's just a common thing. Even when you go to the shops, they've got to list all of the ingredients that's in there. You've got to know what you're eating. You've got to know what you're buying. And I mean, that goes for advertising as well. Companies get charged if they are found advertising something falsely, like they're saying that something is something when it isn't. And you could say for the human voice, to say that this is, a voice in a song that has been produced, I think everyone assumes that it is the singer that you're hearing, just their voice, and not an auto-tune plugin. So yeah, why are we not told about that if we're buying it? Because then we've got all the information that we need in order to make an informed decision about what we want to spend our money on. Because I'm sure a lot of people would rather buy the music of an artist who is just singing naturally, and they've worked at their voice to get their vocals to that kind of level, rather than somebody who hasn't spent the time doing that and have just got close-ish but just put it all through auto-tune, but then don't mention it, and obviously get the same acclaim as the person who might have spent a much longer time perfecting their voice and perfecting pitch. And when you're singing, pitch is such a huge part of it, and it takes so much work to become that accurate. In order to hit notes like Karen Carpenter, which is an example that I always give, but she was so accurate pitch-wise. She wasn't on the lines, but she was so accurate because of the expression. That's why she wasn't on the lines. And it's not that, a great vocalist is always on the lines. It's something that, as I've said in the analysis videos, is something that's man-made with organised sound and music so that we can see it with lines on screen. So once it starts sticking to those lines, it all sounds a bit weird, but obviously you know that something's up. So anyway, yes, Janice says auto-tuning unwanted stranger. And that's another thing that I've mentioned, that for the waiting, anticipating, because there's like that stutter in there, I wanted that whole line to be auto-tuned, to sound different to the rest of the song, because it was supposed to be like a computer. That was the sound. I don't know whether I achieved that sound, but that's what I wanted it to sound like. Maybe I should have done the auto-tune more, but I always say to people that, my whole album isn't auto-tune or pitch corrected. I haven't moved any of my singing notes around. I just practice a hell of a lot at singing to try and get the notes as close as humanly possible to the notes as I know where they are to be, kind of thing. Because I'm not a natural singer, I have to work at it in order to get the notes close. So I spent a hell of a lot of time trying to do that and getting my notes as accurate as possible. So when I listen to a singer, I prefer somebody to have done what I've done and just know that somebody's worked at it, because then when you give them that praise for doing it, then you know that it's just, blood, sweat and tears that they've put into it to get so accurate vocally. So that's why I love analysis videos when we're looking at a great singer, because I have that appreciation for them from that pitch perspective. But yeah, I always say that, I've used it on that one particular line of one song of the album, and artistically, I don't see a problem with doing that when everybody knows. It's not as if, when somebody asks me, oh, do you use auto-tune on any of your songs? And I say, oh, no, and just outright say that. I will always say there's one line in that song where I used it as an artistic thing because I wanted it to sound like a computer, just artistically. So I don't have a problem with using it like that, and there are other artists who use auto-tune in that way, that it's part of their sound and they're almost known for that sound because they use auto-tune. But I think it's when people are using it and they're not mentioning it, and if anything they're trying to keep it quiet. And this is something about that video that we looked at last night with Keen, is that the people that are applying it are trying to hide it rather than just openly saying, oh, by the way, we've auto-tuned the whole performance. They're trying to hide it by leaving other notes that are slightly flat and slightly sharp, but then when they have applied it, it's so blatantly obvious that it just makes it even more obvious the fact that they've left the other bits in there, because then the auto-tune really stands out. So I think that's the problem that people have with it, that when people say it's being used, it's an artistic thing, and that's absolutely fine. It's when people are using it and doing everything to not mention it. And the other side of it is where they're now auto-tuning vocals from 30 and 40 and 50 years ago and not mentioning it. That's something that people have a huge problem with. But anyway, yes, back to tonight's live stream. I will get the donations tab up on screen because, as I always say, you don't have to donate. Just watching is fantastic. So thank you guys for tuning in. Maybe hitting that thumbs up. 307 likes so far, which means we're looking for 28 more likes. Maybe, I'm not sure, which is certainly a fast start to tonight's live stream. But yes, on the donation side of things, you don't have to donate, but I know that some people can't resist it. So I always put up on screen the percentage splits, which are for YouTube between 35 and 45% goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link. You can find one of those in the description below. While I mention that, just quickly, Paul donated $2 and said congrats on 315,000 subscribers. Spike those likes all y'all. So thank you for that, Paul. And there's another $2 donation after that from Orlando that said hi all, spike the likes. So thank you for that. And let's get a plug of the mug. While we've just had a little bit of a spike of the likes potentially. So there, if you want to get your hands on any of the merchandise, then you can do by clicking on the link in the description below, but you might have the tray underneath this video where you can click on any of the items there to go through to the spring.com store. So you can do things either of those ways. If you want another way of getting to the store, you can head over to wingsofpegasus.com/merch, and there's a picture there that you can click on and it'll take you through to the spring.com store. So there you go. And just quickly, I don't know, I just thought of this, but I wasn't really watching, this is the thing, I never really watch TV. I'm always doing something and then something's on in the background. But I heard George Michael talking about his time with Wham, and obviously it's an old interview with him, but I think this interview is probably, I don't know, maybe in the 90s, something like that. But he was talking about the agreement that he had with the record label, with Wham. And like when I always say on this channel, just avoid a record deal at all costs. Yeah, if you can, keep your publishing rights, because Wham, this is what is so stupid, in their contract, their percentage of royalties for albums was 0%. That's the contract they signed, for 0%. So there you go. I mean, if you're wondering how much money George Michael made with Wham, it was 0% on things, literally all the royalties. And this is where, as well, especially towards the end of Wham, he was writing all of the songs, so he was getting nothing for actually writing those songs. But just to think of, and this is something that especially back in those days where they didn't have the internet, so record deals were everything. You needed a record deal to be a musician, to be on TV, to be famous. So if you got offered a record deal, everybody signed them without actually reading what they're signing. Well, the thing is, you can say that they weren't experienced enough and they were teenagers at that time as well. So, I don't know how old they were, maybe 18 or 19, something like that. So they'd signed a contract that for however many years, they're going to be getting nothing. Talk about the record label being quids in. I mean, literally quids in. Anything they sell, they're going to be able to keep. So, yeah, absolutely crazy. And there was another point in it for having the highest percentage they got of any royalties, just to take into consideration as well, that they're writing the songs, especially George is writing all of the songs later on. So the songwriting royalties, the most they ever got was 2%. So sometimes when I say on the channel about signing a record deal nowadays, you're going to give away between 95 and 90% of everything. Yet with George Michael, he was giving away 98% of everything. And then even still, he had 2% on album sales, and they were of the smaller albums, like the smaller records rather than the larger records that everybody bought. So yeah, everybody didn't buy the smaller ones, so he got 2% on that. So he didn't get anything on the main albums and singles and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they signed a deal for 0%. And then 2% of the smaller records. So there you go. That was the deal that people were signing with record labels back in the day. And especially for Wham, they were touring the world, selling out stadiums and getting nothing. And that goes, I mean, it goes 360, live performances, radio, airplay, everything that you normally get a royalty for, even performance royalties. That's something that session guys get. So they weren't getting anything of anything. So absolutely ridiculous, and just something that, when I was listening to that in the background, I didn't know it was quite that bad. And then George Michael then moved on to sign with Sony, and then he had that massive case with them. So it just goes to show that after signing a deal for 0% and 2%, it means that, George then went on and signed another deal that was actually really bad as well. That he went to court with Sony about the deal that actually he made X amount of albums and it wasn't enough albums by the contract that he'd signed, and he then had to make another album just to get out of that contract, which is ridiculous. But that's unfortunately the thing when you sign a contract. He had to do he hadn't done enough albums with them, so you're essentially working for free after the term of your contract. You still owe another whole album of a particular record label, but obviously there's a lot more to it than that. But this is the point, that unfortunately with major labels it's just an absolute nightmare. So anyway, yes, back to the donations that you don't have to make, but thank you for those, Paul and Orlando. And Shirley has donated $4.99 as well. Thank you for that. The message is, iTunes plays your song Amelia at random times during day. That makes me smile. Beautiful song. So thank you for that, Shirley. And yeah, I don't really know how things work on iTunes and Amazon and the places that you can download it. So yeah, it must be part of a playlist or something that happens on there. But this is the thing about iTunes. I don't actually know how that works. All I know is that when people download my song, I do get the 99p for each of the album tracks. Whereas, on the other streaming services like Spotify, it's a 0.00001 pence. So that's why I took it off there. But anyway, thank you for that, Shirley. And for having that on iTunes as well. So let's jump into the PayPal window because... just quickly, I can see that Belladonna is going through saying they were 16. My parents would never let me sign anything at 16. 21, never, never, never. 16. I mean, that... I'm just trying to think whether the law is different in the UK. I think over in the USA, a contract is only legally binding at the age of 18, but it might have been the case that... But no, George definitely said that he signed the contract... in not a restaurant, is in I don't know what you'd call it, maybe like a breakfast place or just like a cafe or something, or a caf where you get coffee and breakfast if you want it, that kind of thing. So he was meeting with the person who owned the record label in just a breakfast place, and that's where they signed that particular record deal. And if they were 16, that would be interesting to know whether they got them to sign another one when they were 18, which seems probably more likely to have happened because, getting something that is legally binding at the age of 16, I'm not sure that's legal here in the UK. But like I said, I don't know the law. They'd have to go back to those times. I need to get the law back in those times to see if somebody at that age could actually sign a contract and for it to be legally binding. So anyway, thank you for that information. And just jumping into the PayPal window, we had a donation in there. We've had a few. I want to make sure that I go back to the end of the last live stream and any that came through after that, because we had one that came through for £20 from Diane at 3:47 in the morning on Wednesday. So thank you for that, Diane. And that is a straight up donation. And Then Laurie donated £8 as well. Thank you for that, Laurie. And that was another straight up donation at 5:37 in the afternoon, early evening, however you want to class that. So thank you for that, Laurie. And Nicole donated £12.23. So thank you for that, Nicole. And the message is, hello, Phil. We need Wings of Pegasus and also your pleasant character and our skills. Rock always. Greetings from France. So thank you for that, Nicole. And Janice has donated £15 as well. Thank you for that, Janice. And the message is, hi, Phil. Referencing Phil Toon, first gig. Could you please let us know how the rest of that evening went? Thanks. So thank you for that. And I can't remember which one that is. First gig. Maybe that was the library one. I can't remember. But I mean, that just, the library gig just happened pretty much as I said it was going to happen. So it's my sister's boyfriend, I think. I can't remember who had the PA, who then turned up. We uploaded. That would be good to upload rather than offloading, because offloading is manual labour, and especially with a PA system, it's very heavy. So we were lifting the PA into the venue, got it all set up, had a mixing desk, all this kind of thing. So it's very much more like a Wings of Pegasus gig, bringing everything with us, and the live venue wasn't really a live venue at all. It was a pub that looked like a library, hence that particular real life story. So we played that gig, and then obviously had to pack everything up at the end, and thankfully quite a few friends and family came down, so we kind of made the best of it on that evening. And I think that was probably the only one that could have been the first gig, because Guffest was like, a festival type thing. What else did we have? The fireworks one was more recent. The Italian and the Bassist, those were both kind of audition based ones, even though the Italian one didn't even get as far as an audition. Just got as far as meeting him in London, and then him telling us that he was going back to Italy. So anyway, thank you for that, Janice. And Tammy's donated £10. Thank you for that, Tammy. The message is, hi, Phil. Concerning auto-tune / pitch correction, does an artist have any say or control over producers who auto-tune or pitch correct their songs without their permission? So thank you for that. And generally, the answer to that is no. As soon as you sign a recording contract, that means that you are signing across effectively your artistic expression to them. And this is why a lot of bands and artists have problems when the record label then wants them to change their sound for their second album or whatever, that they've really, got them stuck in a contract. So they say, right, well, if you don't do this album, then you're going to owe us for the cost of your first album, and then they're massively in debt, so then they have to change the sound, and they're locked into a contract. So it might be a 2 album deal, so they've got to do that second album, and they've got to make it sound exactly as the record label want them to get it to sound. So unfortunately, once you sign a contract, contracts are serious things. You've got to do what you've signed on that contract, and there'll be a clause in there where, there's a clause for everything. The record label have had many, many, many years of writing contracts to make sure they include every single get out clause for themselves and lock the artist into whatever the record label want to do. So when you're talking about auto-tune pitch correction, it's not a decision that the artist gets to make, or the band gets to make. The band perform live, and the band will, like, say for example Keen, the video that we did last night, the band will perform live without auto-tune because that's how they want to perform, and that's how they do it. So that's the thing that they can control, is performing in front of people with their effects. If they use distortion on their guitars or that kind of stuff, if they do have any effects on their vocals, they can use those. But if they don't use auto-tune, then they don't use auto-tune, and that's their live sound. But as soon as that live sound is recorded and now released as a DVD or something, it's always post-produced, and that's the record label that does it, and they can do anything they want with it. And generally they will apply auto-tune and pitch correction to a vocal that didn't have it. They will now apply it to it. So the artist isn't it doesn't have any say in that, because they're probably out writing another album or recording an album, or they might be still on tour while all of this footage is getting put together for their show from 2007, the O2. That was the show that I looked at. So yeah, that's all edited together by obviously an editing team, and the production of the sound of that particular show is then edited by a producer or a set of producers who go through it and decide that we want to try and make it sound better because we think it's better if his voice is now on all of these lines. So there you go. That's just part of the industry, and again, that's what happens when you sign a contract. You don't really get any say over your sound as it's released on YouTube, but then on DVD. And this is the thing about YouTube, is that now, instead of releasing to DVD, a lot of bands and artists, their record labels release it to YouTube. So then all you ever get to hear is the auto-tuned version of your favourite singer's voice. And the fact that they're now auto-tuning singers who didn't have it on the release as it was first released, but now they're re-releasing it, auto-tuning it. It just makes it into a bit of a mess, really. But thank you for that, Tammy. And Dawn has donated £30 and 34 pence. So thank you for that, Dawn. And the message is, hey Phil, catch-up crew for me today. But I hit the like button. I'm at Mad Monster Expo hanging out with my fellow horror geeks. So I thought I would ask a horror-related question. Do you have a favourite horror movie theme or a favourite song that is in a horror movie? So thank you for that. And I would say probably, I don't know, this is a difficult one, but I might have been asked this before, but I can't remember. Anyway, I think what I said before was the Halloween theme, just because I think when I watched that movie, I was... I feel like saying that I was too young to watch the movie, but I probably wasn't. It was just one of those movies that, I found a bit spooky because of the music. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, the music couldn't be more simple. It's just a little piano, is it? And it's just got that bass running through it the whole time. I think it actually might be more synth than piano, especially that bass that's running through it. But it's just a really simple change of like a semitone. And I think everybody knows the Halloween thing. And this is the other thing, that when I think of the movie, I instantly think of you get that going off in your head, and then it just goes down like a semitone. Yes, it's just a semitone down, but it's that same little riff, but it's the synth and the other stuff that's underneath. It's like dum dum, So I don't know. I found that a little bit disturbing, just as a theme. I think it really suited the movie well, so that's what I'd go for. But I think just the mask as well was a bit spooky, it's a bit weird, into the fact that he didn't talk, but he was always in the distance, kind of hidden away, and then you can see his mask in the background, and when he's kind of standing the other side of the street, but then he disappears. And I found that movie a bit spooky. But I think it's probably one of the first horror movies that I'd watched, so I wasn't really used to all of the the things where directors have particular shocks or like scares. I'm not sure what they're called, but it's when everything goes quiet, and then somebody will say, for example, they'll close the door of a fridge, and then the killer will be there, and it's like a wah, and it'll just give you that shock scare type thing. So I think Halloween is what I'd have to go for. And this is the original that I'm talking about, the very first one that they released, because I know there's been many Halloweens after. So I'd go for that. But I do like a horror movie now and again, but I think it's very difficult now, because I've seen so many of them. It's very difficult to have that same impact as watching your first one, such as Halloween, and having or being affected by the movie that much. Because once you've seen that, you're now waiting for those kinds of things in movies that are horror movies. So you're kind of waiting for it. I guess the things that they started to change more as the years progressed was getting more gory and having more blood and all that kind of stuff, where they really started to, push in that direction, especially like with Final Destination. That's one of those movies that I saw, and I think they started to kind of push the envelope a bit. But then movies like Saw as well, they're starting to push the envelope of having the kind of gory details and stuff. But for me, I mean, I'm not hugely into loads of gore. For me, just like the simple horror stuff was really good. So that's why I think I tend to lean towards the older kinds of movies that are a bit more subtle, but still, really good. But anyway, thank you for that, Dawn. And we had another donation after that from Debbie, who has donated £10. Thank you for that, Debbie. The message is, hi Phil, congrats on hitting 315,000 subscribers. Do you have any other original songs written but not yet recorded? You are amazing. Love you, Debbie. So thank you for that, Debbie. And I mean, I don't know how many other songs there must be from when I started playing. I was like 18 or 19, but there were some songs that I was thinking about recording for my Persistence album, but I wanted every song on Persistence to be a song that I thought was good and that I liked, rather than just putting out a song for the sake of it, or just making up a song to, for example, make the album 12 tracks, because I had 11 tracks and I did have other songs, but I felt like, well, they're not strong enough, or they're not as strong as the other songs. So I thought, well, what would be the point of just putting on another song for the sake of it, just to get to 12? So I just left 11 as it was. So that's why there are 11 tracks on my album. And then I released Running Blind after that. So it's not an official album track, it's a single after that. But I don't have any like fully formed songs. Is always just ideas and riffs and all that kind of stuff, and especially at the moment, certainly finding time to do anything other than keeping up with everything is just not a possibility at the moment. But there are other songs that I have, but I just don't think that they're as strong as the other ones. So I'm sure that people that came to see Wings of Pegasus back in the day will know some of the other songs that aren't on the album. But for me, I just wanted that album to be I don't know, all killer, no filler, as they say. I find that sometimes the other thing about being signed to a record label is that they will say, you have to finish your album by this date. And if they've got 10 songs, but the record label want 12, it means that bands are now creating songs literally at the last minute just to have 2 more songs. So I think that's a problem sometimes with bands that are signed to major labels. Sometimes they have to rush out an album to hit the deadline. Whereas I think that because music's an art, you should be totally happy with the songs that you're releasing. And then if it happens to be 11 songs, then it's 11 songs. That's just what it is. Don't, force yourself to release something that you think is substandard. And there have been plenty of artists that I've heard interviewed who don't actually like one of their own songs that they released in the past, but it's because they had to just suddenly make up something and they didn't have a chance to, write something that they, were inspired by or had inspiration for. So it's another side of it, sadly. If you do sign to a label, it means you're going to be stuck by their timeline. But if you're independent and you think, right, I need another month or 2 to finish this off, and that's the great thing about being independent production wise, is that you can release it when you're happy with it. I know that most people will say that you're never ever truly happy with it, but at least you can get to a point where you're relatively happy with it, and then you can release your songs. Just the advantage of being independent. But thank you for that, Debbie. And Orlando has donated £8. Thank you for that, Orlando. And the message is a question from Ginny White, who was unable to be with us today. Since you have been doing vlogs on autotune, are you afraid that someone will do this to your songs? And if they did, can you sue? Thanks. So thank you for that, Ginny, by the way, of Orlando. And people, well, I don't know, people could autotune my songs if they wanted to, but it means that I would get a notification that my song has been used, because I use TuneCore as the company who look after my publishing for my songs. So it means that any of my songs that is played on the internet, auto-tuned or not, I get informed about that it's been used. And obviously, I would then be able to listen to it if I wanted to. And if somebody was auto-tuning my songs and then releasing them, then I just take them down. That's something that you can do. And it doesn't really have to get as far as suing. It's, like if somebody uploads my songs and, for example, does a video on it or mentions, which I have had in the past, talking about me as an artist or my singing or anything like that, I don't have a problem with people using my songs. If they were editing them, then yeah, it's up to me whether I want that to be out there or not. And I would take it down because, I'm not a big fan of using auto-tune, or especially myself, as I don't use it. I don't think that that's the sound that I want to have with my songs, and it's just an artistic thing for me. I've learned to sing and hit pitches, so I want my sound to be as natural as possible, and that's just me as an artist, what I prefer to do. So yeah, because I own all of my publishing, then it doesn't matter if somebody does that because I can remove it. But again, this is the problem with signing a recording contract. If you don't own what you're making, for example, George Michael had a 0% say in what they would then do to his song once he's recorded it. So they could auto-tune it if they wanted to. They could pitch correct it. He wouldn't have a say in that because they're in control. He signed the contract. So again, another advantage of being independent is that you can choose how your music sounds if people wanted to start doing that. But, they'd have to isolate the vocal first and then try and do the auto-tune from there, because obviously the only people that have got access to the original stems of my album is me. They're on my old Mac, so yeah, they don't have the actual files to work with, so they'd have to do a kind of bodge job of trying to auto-tune it because they don't just have the vocal by itself. It would have to be an isolated vocal thing, and then sometimes you get bleed of other instruments, so yeah, it'd be a bit of a pointless process anyway. But thank you for that, Orlando. And Karen has donated £3.79. Thank you for that, Karen. The message is: Hi Phil, congratulations on hitting 315,000 subscribers. I think we subscribe to the belief of art, not auto-tune. Hence, I don't believe you're ranting about it. Thanks for all you do and for being you. Rock on. Cheers, Karen. So thank you for that. And I can see that there have been some donations in the super chat window, so thank you for those. But I'm just going to get through the PayPal ones because Darlene has donated £7.59. So thank you for that, Darlene, and that is a straight up donation. So we are now up to date with PayPal, and almost 49 minutes past 11, we are at 410 likes. So we have just about hit our target of 335. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. And something that I did mention over on Patreon is that somebody mentioned, and I think maybe more than one person mentioned, about the amount of traffic that I'm getting on the channel. Because we've gone up by so many subscribers over the last just few days, they said maybe the reason more adverts are happening, and especially in that last live stream, is because YouTube knows that thousands more people are now watching the videos on top of the audience that's already there. So they're putting in more adverts, obviously, because YouTube will make more money that way. So it's certainly something that makes sense. I didn't even think of that. But I guess when your channel gets busier, YouTube start putting more adverts on that. So it'll be interesting to see how many adverts we've had in tonight's live stream, because I can see that from the beginning of the live stream, it says, focus on your live stream and let YouTube insert ads for you. And then I've got an option to turn that on or dismiss it. And I haven't turned it on. So it'd be interesting to know if there have been any adverts so far in the live chat room. If you guys can let me know if it's been interrupted by an advert, one or more, let me know, because it might be the case that because I haven't turned that on, that I think YouTube is expecting me, because it's a window that you have to cancel. You have to click on one of them to get rid of it, but I haven't yet clicked on it because I didn't know what would happen. So Deborah says no adverts for me. Barbara says no adverts for me. Rose says no adverts. And Liz says only one that skipped before the first video. So it looks like we're getting no adverts on the live stream because I haven't conformed and turned them on, which is obviously what YouTube wanted me to do at the beginning. So sometimes I find that by not turning them on, it hurts the channel, and then all of a sudden things really drop off and YouTube stops telling subscribers that I've released a video because I haven't turned on the adverts. So it might be that if people have just had one advert, I don't know whether I should turn it on because then people might get an advert all of a sudden. So I'll leave it off for a moment. Maybe we'll do an experiment like right at the end of the live stream to see. But as long as people aren't getting adverts, then that's, I think, a better experience for you guys to be watching without being interrupted. Or at least for me, not being interrupted. You know, if I'm especially answering somebody's question and then I answer and they get an advert, that's a little bit ridiculous. So anyway, we are going to be pushing forward with those super chat donations. Just quickly, we had one that came in from Mick, who donated £4.99. Thank you for that, Mick. And the message was, hi Phil, the Tom Petty album, The Last DJ, is a slam at the music industry, well worth a listen. So thank you for that, Mick. And yeah, I mean, Tom was one of those guys that would tell it how it was, and there are artists, I mean, there have been quite a lot of songs actually that the artists are actually having a go at their record labels, either with an album or with a particular song, because of how ridiculous things are in the recording industry. But let's move down, because Orlando donated $10. Thank you for that. And the message is, Taylor Swift cannot play her earlier hit songs like Teardrops on My Guitar and Blank Space without paying her previous record company. She signed a contract. So thank you for that. And I think I saw this on the news that it was even worse than that. She signed a contract with her manager, and the manager took all of the rights to her initial releases. So then she re-recorded that whole album and released it, where she now registered herself as the owner of those songs. So that's another thing that can happen, is that managers, sometimes you can sign a recording contract with a record label and say, for example, they give you 10%. Like I've said before about signing away 90%, but even still, 10%, if you sell enough, is quite a lot of money. If you're selling in the millions, if you've got, you know, platinum albums, then 10% of those sales is quite a lot of money. So managers will then come in and have part of the, you know, they do it all at the same time. So the recording contract and the management contract, the manager will say that they take 8% of 8% of the rights to this person's music. And of course, the person writing the music, they think, oh well, 8%, that's not very much, but they don't realise the recording contract they've signed is taking 90%, which then leaves them with 2% because their manager's getting 8%. So this is the other thing. Management contracts, sometimes, even though you'd say, and quite rightly, that a manager shouldn't be taking any percentage of an artist's writing, their publishing rights. That's nothing to do with management. The manager's supposed to be looking out for the artist, but there have been plenty of managers in the past who have done this. They've taken rights to music. Even though that's nothing to do with them, they will write that into their contract, and they'll obviously be saying to the artist that they're working in their best interest and they're negotiating with the label and, you know, trying to get the best possible deal. But unfortunately, yeah, they know how business works, they know how contracts work, and sadly musicians don't. So there are plenty of managers who have made a mint from their artists, and yeah, that was a case in that particular case of Taylor Swift, that yeah, she had to re-record everything in order to make the money for her songs that she'd written. Because once you've written a song, especially if you're signed to a major label and you have management, that song is now in the public domain, and they are registering the rights to it, or they are claiming the rights themselves. It's almost like a race. I'm sure that the manager sometimes is racing against the record label to get it, you know, registered as their song. and that's the thing. Once it's registered as your song, you no matter what happens, you get the royalties for every single time it's played on the radio. Even when it's performed live, you will get the royalties because you own that song. Even though the artist just wasn't quick enough at registering it themselves, some other people can swoop in, and it's just the way that it works, unfortunately. So anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. And Stardust Unicorn has donated $7.99. Thank you for that. Support Banter Wings of Pegasus, as I always say. We are going to be jumping into the cover video for tonight, and this is going to be... looks like maybe Power of Love. It disappears and then it reappears. It was Power of Love with 51% of the vote, and it makes it on theme because of my t-shirt for tonight. Again, totally accidental because these get requested over on Patreon. So yeah, thank you guys for doing that first of all, giving me videos that I can actually put up on the live streams and you guys can vote between. So we are going to be having a look at that. So yeah, I obviously didn't have the result of the vote or what people wanted to hear before I put on my t-shirt. So totally accidental, but we are going to be jumping into this. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys after. Rock!
Make a bad one good, make a wrong one right. Power of love that keeps you home at night. Don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love. That's the power of love.
And there we have it. A very sudden ending to that particular cover. And it looks like exactly the same thing has happened to the camera that happened the last time we resumed after the cover video. I've gone all high contrast and we've got black hair. So I don't know what happens with that. And yeah, sadly, it's not something that I can reset. Before, when the lighting goes a bit funny, I put my hand in front of the camera and then it resets. But for tonight, yeah, for some reason, it's just not something that we're going to be able to do, because I did try it last time, but I can try it again. Then we go back, and it just goes back to this high contrast thing. Anyway, that was my version of Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News, of course. So thank you guys for requesting that and then for voting for it in the live chat room. So we have hit the target. No picture corner for tonight. And by the way, if you guys want to get involved over on Facebook as part of the supporters group page, you can do. The Wings of Pegasus supporters group, that's what it's called, the page. You can join in with that, and Bob hosts the after party after these live streams, and that's where, yes, the lovely people in the live chat room hang out between the live streams. So you can head over there if you want to after this. But so we are going to be jumping into a Phil Jam. What is the time? 2 minutes past. And we have had another donation in the PayPal window. Let me just see if I can get this to load up. And there it is. Elaine has donated £7.59. So thank you for that, Elaine. And the message is, hello, Phil. This one is for the tip jar from my hubby, Jim Parhamovich. So apologies about the pronunciation if I have absolutely murdered that, but thank you, Jim. The message continues, I'm the keeper of the PayPal account. Hello from Jim. So hello, Jim, and hello, Elaine, as well. Thank you for that. And let me just jump into another one that's just come in from Karen. And it's for £2.28. Thank you for that, Karen. The message is, hi, Phil, from Mindful Talk. In inverted commas, describe the last time you felt really calm. Thanks for all you do, Karen. So thank you for that. And I generally feel calm most of the time. I think I remember more when I'm not calm. When things are just all a bit crazy. And yeah, generally what I do every day is I get to a point where I've answered all of the messages, and this is sometimes where things get a little bit difficult, where I think I've done everything for the day, and then I remember like either Facebook, or I remember my website, or I remember Patreon. I do every night. So yeah, if I forget about that, it's rare that I forget to answer messages on Patreon, because I do that every night. I don't think I've ever missed a night, really. But yeah, the other social media sites I then forget. So I think that I've done everything for the day and kind of relax and go, right, okay, bedtime. And then I think, oh no, I haven't done Facebook. So that, yeah, then I have to get through the Facebook messages, and it just delays my going to bedtime. So yeah, generally I feel calm. I mean, even doing that is just something that I'm used to. So I don't get really irate or frustrated or stressed out about it. So yeah, like I think I'm lucky in that I'm not one of these people that, you know, have or has mental issues with depression and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just lucky that I don't suffer with that. So when I am feeling, you know, up against it, then I don't think it's more just stress, but even that, I don't think it really negatively affects me. It doesn't affect my health or anything. I think just because I do keep very organised, so that I make sure everything is done by the end of the day. Even if it means I'm going to bed at like 6 a.m, once I go to bed, that's it. And then the next day, I'm relatively calm, because, you know, I know that everything was up to date last night, and now it's just a case of doing everything the same as I did yesterday and getting everything up to date until I then go to bed for that particular evening. So yes, thank you for that, Karen. I think generally, if I'm like out on the golf course or something, or just doing something that's nothing to do with what I do every day, then that's when I'm quite calm, because I'm not really thinking, I'm not juggling lots of things. So that's why sometimes it's good to go away and do something totally different, like maybe playing football with my nephews. That's another thing, that at that point I'm playing football with my nephews. I'm not thinking, oh, I've got to make sure that I answer this question or check out that video, or, you know, save this link for future reference and all that kind of stuff. I'm just playing football with my nephews. So that's quite good as well. So yeah, pretty much anything recreational that I do that I enjoy, it takes my mind off things anyway, which I think is important to do just in general. So thank you for that, Karen. Right, we are going to be jumping into the Field Jam. And which number is it? 36 over here. And this is 9 minutes in length. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a long one. And it's got an advert, so let me just mute that. And right now, the other thing is, I haven't got my wah-wah plugged in, which, thinking about it now, for a 9-minute backing track, if we do indeed play along to the whole 9 minutes, we might not, then it might be good to actually have the wah-wah pedal plugged in. So anyway, I'll let this load up, and it is, for those of you wanting to know, if you want to jam along yourselves or check this out at a later date, it is from Elevated Jam Tracks. That's the YouTube channel, and it is Outlaw Blues Rock Guitar backing track jam in D minor. Now the thing is, he's got an acoustic guitar, so I'm not sure whether electric or acoustic is going to be better for this, because the Strat is plugged in. So I don't know, should we try and get the wah-wah going? And Charlie says, what key? It says D minor on there, so that's your key, even though I don't really like watching or knowing the key. I just like to jam along. But what I will try and do is take this out of here, and I'm going to disappear for a while. I have to reach down. I tell you what, I might be able to bring this closer so I don't disappear for too long, but I am going to disappear under the desk to grab the crybaby, and there, put that in there. I don't know whether it's actually set on or not, so let me click that there, and now I've got to this is the most organisation I've done. It's only because the track is 9 minutes, so I think it's probably a bit better to have some kind of variation in sound that I'm playing. The only problem is, as you'll just be able to hear, because of the wah-wah, it just goes really buzzy all the time, which I think, I'm not sure why it does. It shouldn't be that dramatic. It shouldn't get as buzzy as it suddenly is, because I haven't turned on distortion or anything. I've just plugged in the wah-wah pedal. So, oh, Joe says Strat, not acoustic. Wah, helpful. Okay, thank you for that, Joe. Of course, Joe knows these backing tracks, so he can give me some inside information. But let's have a listen. So can you hear this? So yeah, the buzzing is the wah-wah pedal. Can't really do anything about that. So that's what happens with wah-wah, unfortunately. So can you hear it? Cindy says, oh, nice sound is good. Okay, so it might be buzzy, but we've got good sound, which is a rare thing. Making sure this is coming through. I'm going to change my pickup. For some reason now I can hear it better. Don't know why. We are into this because I want to try and do maybe half and half. Okay, 4 minutes 40 and it's 9 minutes, so that's about half. Right, I'm going to try and turn on this wah-wah pedal, use all of my weight that I don't have. Right. on, something's happened. Okay, solo tones. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So this video is a backing. I'll tell you what. I'm going to pull the lead out of the guitar, because this backing track is obviously a backing track, but he's demonstrating, I think, tones at the end. So now he's going to go through maybe pedals or something. So it wasn't 9 minutes. I'm assuming that's what he's doing, because then he's now got a bit where he says solo tones and rhythm and solo tabs and stuff on there. So anyway, that was it. So that's sometimes what happens. Just we get a sudden ending to the particular backing track. But that was it. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that the wah-wah has such a buzz sound to it. Even when my guitar's on 0, it's just an intermediate. I mean, it might be the fact that I've got so much stuff that is turned on. You know, I've got like monitors, and I've got, there's the reference speakers, I've got my subwoofer, I've got 2 interfaces going on. Obviously, my amp is there. So yeah, a lot of electrics going on. It might just be the fact that, I would need to be further away, but I can't do that for the live stream, unfortunately. So anyway, that was that. Thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. I can see that we're at 511 likes. So thank you guys for that. And I'm just going to check in the PayPal window. There has been a donation in there from Orlando, and it looks like Orlando's written a novel for this particular donation. So I'll maybe get into that as 18 minutes past midnight here, so I'll have to be quick. But I'm just trying to see. I did see when I was jamming, and I do read things and look at things while I'm playing. I think it was Ghislaine that said she'd made a donation that hadn't been referenced, but I mean, I will look through everything just quickly. I'll tell you what, let me take it all the way back to the first donation that we had that then came through, and I pretty much go from the kind of bottom of the list. As soon as one comes in, it gets added to the top of the list. So if I'm constantly going through them from bottom to top, then I know that I never miss any of them. So I'm just going to click through to make sure that I didn't do a double click on anything. No, that was Elaine's that we did. So yes, I can't see anything there. Michael just donated £7.59, so thank you for that, Michael. And yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that one, Ghislaine, but it hasn't come through PayPal. So there we go. And Orlando said, I tried to warn you, Phil. So yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see the warning for this particular donation from Orlando, but I'll do my best to do fast reading, but I'm not very good at that. And David has donated $2 saying wonderful playing. Thank you for that, David. Paul's donated $2 saying it was most excellent. So thank you for that, whatever you're referring to. Maybe the guitar. In which case, thank you for the kind words. And just quickly, right, to finish with, Orlando says, trivia for you. Sylvester Stallone does not own the rights to Rocky movie franchise. As he put it, Sly signed the contract for the first Rocky movie and did not know until years later that he signed away all the rights to the present and future creative rights to Rocky. Sly called it a sleazy movie because he was broken literally on the streets when his movie script for Rocky 1 was finally bought by Warner Brothers. They own all the rights to the Rocky movies. All sequels written, produced and directed by Sly Stallone were all done as an employee of Warner Brothers. Sly does not own the rights to any Rocky movie, and that sucks for him. He gets no money whatsoever from those films. So thank you for that. And I mean, this is the problem. Sly Stallone is one of those guys that is like an independent musician, but like an independent filmmaker, effectively. You know, writing the script, starring in the movie, producing the movie, directing the movie, all that kind of stuff. Doing it all himself. But in order to get a movie like that made, you need a team of people. So you've got to obviously go to some kind of film studio that can put up the money to employ those people, because Sly wouldn't have had the money at that time. So the problem is that it's pretty much like, if they know it's a good script, if they think it's a good script, if it turns out to be huge, I mean, because Sly would have been so desperate just to get the movie made, yeah, they've got a huge advantage there, because he would sign anything probably to get it made, not knowing that actually it means for the whole Rocky franchise. It's like they own, and they'll make sure that they own the franchise, like the logo, like anything that is to do with it, probably even Sly's image as Rocky, that'll all be trademarked, and they'll take money for that. So and another I mean, it's a shame, but this is just the industry. It's just the way that most industries work, that it's all about the money. And if somebody can make some money by putting something in their contract that people don't understand, then they will do it. There's always these underhand things that are going on. And that's sadly just the world that we live in, that everyone's looking to make money for no reason. And I've mentioned this about when you're buying things online, and there's always an extra cost, and it's like a processing fee. That's the thing that they throw out there. It'll be like £5 or £4.99 processing fee. And I know that it doesn't cost anything to process anything. When somebody buys something online, there isn't a processing fee, especially when you're, I know I've got a website. So when somebody buys one of my albums, I don't put on there, £3 or £4 processing fee. It's all automated. Everything nowadays is automated. So the fee to pay somebody their hourly rate for processing all of these payments, they don't have to do that anymore, because it's all logged by the computer automatically. So anyway, that's what I mean. People will just add on things for things that don't exist to make more money, because sadly people are greedy, and that's just the world that we live in. So anyway, here we go. This is it. The end of the live stream now. Definitely thank you guys for the donations. I say you don't have to donate, but they are much appreciated. I'm going to be back with another video tomorrow night, Sunday night, so look out for that one. I'm going to be live streaming on Tuesday night as always, 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So if you are available, that's where I will be, and we'll be starting again the quest for a Phil Jam to hit the likeometer level, even though we've done it, we've overdone it by 190 likes tonight. So thank you. That's almost like another whole likes goal in itself. So thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up. If you're watching this in the future on catch up, you can still hit that thumbs up. It really does help the channel to get out there and to grow on the whole. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you'll be able to make it on Tuesday night, and we'll be able to interact then again in a live setting. So have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to now go away, try and get everything done before tomorrow, but I am going to do that analysis video for tomorrow, so look out for that one. As I always say, try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!